If you haven't already, please also subscribe to us on Apple, Spreaker, and Spotify. Just type in Brawl Boxing and you'll find us there. Thank you.
Oh, and down he goes! Right hand, left hand, and I don't think he's going to get up. I think it's all over. I think it's over. Is he going to get up? Can he get up? Can he get up? He does. Oh my goodness! Somehow Fury has managed to get up.
Hello, folks, and welcome back to the Brawl Boxing Podcast. I'm Kieran McCourt, and I'm joined by co-hosts Colin McGuigan and Ram McLaughlin. As always, guys, I just want to start by shouting out our first sponsor, 92 Degrees. They're a coffee shop which started over in Liverpool, and they've now just expanded into various other cities, such as Manchester and Leeds. So if you do happen to be in any of them cities, their coffee is absolutely amazing, and we'd really recommend going. They've helped us out a lot coming on board, so thanks a million, lads.
Thanks for that, McCourt. Another amazing company which has made this all possible for us is CBD Uplift. CBD Uplift is home of the highest quality CBD available in the UK. So if you head over to cbduplift.co.uk and begin to uplift yourself today using code BRAWL20 at checkout, that'll get you 20% off your entire order and free shipping. So thanks very much to the CBD Uplift team who've made this all possible for us. Also a big thanks to Wow Hydrate who've came on board. So you can check out some of the deals they've got on their website and some upcoming deals that we will have exclusive to the podcast in the coming weeks. So we've had this next guest on a few months back at the very start of our podcast, and we're delighted he's joining us again. So please welcome WBO Super Featherweight Champion Jamel Herring. Jamel, how are you doing, mate?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me back, guys. It's good to speak with you guys again. But I feel great.
Well, Jamel, this the same as last time. I was just going to say, if we're speaking too quickly, I know you've spent a lot more time with Carl Frampton this time, so you might.
I can hear you guys clearly. You guys are fine with me. Like I said, I speak to Jamie Conlon all the time.
I know, like Colin said, it has been a few months since we last spoke, but this time you're coming fresh off the biggest victory of your career. You'd probably say yourself, Jamel. Before we get into all that, how was Dubai like? Because I know you mentioned that you want to go back there with the family and that. How was that whole experience?
Oh, it was good. Dubai was good. It was actually relaxing. Even when from the time I got there to the time I left, everything just went, smooth. It was definitely a good time and a good experience overall.
It wasn't too hot or anything, no.
Oh no, it got hot. It got hot. But like I said, I was focusing on getting ready for the fight. That I really didn't go outside as much. Anyway, I think I probably went out maybe like 2 times, and like it started getting a little warm out there. But it was cool though.
You only arrived in Dubai late, didn't you?
Yeah, I arrived. Let me see. The fight was on a Saturday, of course. I think I arrived maybe that Friday before, right before the following week coming up, but. It didn't bother me at all, like, cause for the most part, when I had left the States, it was like early in the daytime, and then like when I got to Dubai, even with the time change, it was night, so it really didn't like bother me in terms of like getting adjusted as much. And when I arrived to Dubai, I remember that as soon as I got there, because it was a long flight, I was like, hey, let's go to the gym, let's go shake out and work out, and it was fine with me because for the most part I trained that night because the fight was late. Like I think like me and Carl like walked to the ring around at 1 a.m. So for the most part I trained that night, and then during the and then like in the morning I did my morning run. But throughout the rest of the day I just rested and relaxed, and then trained at night again and so on.
Well, I have to be honest. You broke a lot of hearts in Belfast 2 weeks ago. I have to be honest. Obviously, Carl is like an absolute legend in Belfast, where we're from, and as you know yourself. But you also have to say you also won over a lot of hearts. Like how you conducted yourself after the fight. We already knew you were a gentleman, but I think you.
Oh no, yeah. Even with all the like small little jabs that him and I threw at each other from time to time, it was all respect. And like I was even kind of like, honestly, people were like, I think I got interviewed. I know I got interviewed afterwards in the back, and I was like, it was showing in my face, like I was kind of upset. Just from like hearing his speech after the fact, because like I said, I like Carl. I mean, I always been a fan. I'm still a fan. It's funny. Like even when I got back to the States, I just wanted to put on like one of his fights, and I was just watching his fights with Leo, the Warrington fight. That's actually one of my favorite fights. I mean, though he lost, but like he showed he had the heart. He had the heart. Like even when he was hurt, like that's what I thought I was gonna have. That's why. And from looking at that fight, I actually thought I was gonna have a rough fight myself because I seen the war. He went with Warrington, but he didn't give up. He didn't quit. But just the way, like from a fan's perspective, when I heard his speech, and I told him, that's why I told him, hey man, take your time because like if this is your last time being in the ring, I give you that respect so you can speak with your fans around the world. So yeah, it was hard. It was heartbreaking, but I also said that I thought Jamie Moore did the right thing because, like I say, I don't never want to see a guy like that get severely, injured or anything like that. And like I see a lot of myself in Carl, and meaning like I have a wife, I have kids as well. So you want to just go home. Like I want him to go home in one piece and on the right track. And like I said, even now just talking about it, you can tell like it's still like kind of like it messes with me because, like I said, he's a good guy and he showed nothing but absolute, respect throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, for me, he's Ireland's greatest ever fighter still, even now. And I even said that to him after. But like for you, that you wanted that big name on your record, and you were unbelievable on the night. Like everybody was so impressed with you. How does that feel now to have that name on the record and still world champion and pushing on?
It definitely feels good. It feels great. I mean, especially like I said, not just having that name, but just being able, just being able. Just being able to like share the ring with a guy like Carl is a great thing.
Brawl boxing debut here.
Bye bye.
But yeah, just like I said, it was more of getting that type of fight with him because like I said, everything he's done and like I said, I believe he will be. Well, he is one of Ireland's greatest fighters and. To me, it's a Hall of Fame. That's easily a Hall of Fame.
Absolutely, yeah. Was there anything surprised you about him in there? Like, did the fight go exactly how you imagined, or was there anything sort of surprised you about?
Only the difference was how it ended. Like, I wasn't. To be honest, I wasn't expecting that. Like for me, I thought it was gonna be a little bit rugged, more rugged, if anything, because like I said, who he is and what he do. Hold on for a second.
No problem.
As you can see, it's back to daddy duties for me. But no, to answer the question again, though, no, like I said, I knew he was gonna come. Like I knew that, like even like when he came out, you could tell that like he wasn't really bothered by like the whole size and things. So I had to basically force that on him, like I had. That's why I use a lot of my physical attributes in the beginning, early on. Like when you watch it, I was just boxing because I wanted to, let him know like I wasn't gonna let him get in so easily. So, but even when I got cut, I knew that he was gonna come, and he was starting to get to the eye a lot more. But I just had to stay calm and cool, and like I said, I was just honored just to share the ring with him at the end of the day.
Did it help you? Like again, you showed so much composure in that fight. Like it's one of the best I've seen you. Did it help you not having the crowd there to sort of keep composed?
No, like I said, even I still wish we especially for like if it would have ended the same result, I still would have wished that for him that he would have got the proper due respect of having that Belfast atmosphere. Because normally when anybody would tell you, crowd or no crowd, sometimes like when you're locked in. It's tunnel vision. You know what I mean? You're just locked in. But I think it would have been a better feeling, for both of us if there was, that crowd atmosphere. But like I said, that's the only thing that I hate to see for him, like that he had to go out like that and he didn't have, his respected people and audience around him. But what I mean, we're living in a rough time right now, so there's not much we could do. Even when I thought the fight was going to London, I was told at first there was supposed to be some expected crowd because I think if you guys remember with Anthony Joshua's last fight, they did bring in an audience. So I was thinking they would do the same thing, but things happen, and for me at least, I could just hope the next fight we can bring back an audience.
You made history as well. That was the first world title fight to ever be in Dubai, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know what? I didn't even know that till like the week of the fight. I really didn't even I didn't know that until I was like, oh, like really, like this is actually the first world title fight here. But that's an amazing feat, of course. But like I said, it still would have been a lot better if we had a crowd. And
Yeah.
you guys know,
Definitely.
I wanted to come to Belfast, even if, like I said, even if I was on the opposing side. But I always believe that you know, UK and Irish fans, they have the best atmosphere for fights. Like, I mean, I remember when you guys basically took over the Guardian for the the Ruiz fight, the first one. And I remember Katie Taylor, she was on the card as well, and like the reception she got was just crazy in there. So I was like, man, I have to fight overseas someday. And you know, and I was looking forward, like, you know, fighting in a football stadium or overseas with you guys, but we got to find a way for me to get over there to do it.
I was just going to touch on that, Jamel. In terms of you coming over here, is that something that you want to do? Obviously, with everything, I seen Christine Frampton, Carl's wife, tweeted you and your wife about coming over for dinner. Is that something that you'll want to do and come over
Yeah,
here?
I mean, that meant a lot to me, because that shows you right there that even after a war or brutal fights in the ring, that people can come together and still have a good time. You know what I mean? So like, we really are considering that offer. Trust me, my wife does want to go. And it's funny how like both of our wives kind of like really connected through boxing, which is, we know in boxing is a strange way for anyone to really connect like that. But like my wife was telling me that when she spoke to Carl's wife, that like she understood where she was coming from, in terms of like she wanted him to retire for a while now. You know what I mean? Like, and remember when I had tweeted after the last fight with Oquendo about retiring too, is because of my wife. She wanted me to retire as well, because she knows that boxing in the sport just takes a toll on you mentally and physically. So like like they really connected on that level, and that's what I mean. Like, there's actually a lot of similarity between him and I, and like I said, and family is definitely you know, big with both of
Yeah,
us.
it's crazy because no one ever thinks about that side. Like I've heard Carl speak about it quite a lot, about, like, you know, behind every strong man there's a stronger woman and stuff. But
Right.
people don't see, like, use away at long training camps, maybe in a bad mood, cutting weight, especially if you've got kids and they're bringing up the kids. Like, that must be tough for the
Oh yeah,
wives.
definitely, yeah, definitely. I actually, you know, I watched the series, you know, that he was creating through the build up, you know, and it was a good series, and like, and it just gave you more of an insight with, like, say, with his family, with his wife and kids, and like it reminded me of my own household. Like, you see, like when I'm home, the kids just love running, you know, coming up and playing with me. But you also got to think about when I'm away, how much, you know, the roles that your significant other plays at home. And like with the stuff that she was saying, and the kids were saying, I was like, man, I can relate to that. So yeah, definitely. You know, family does mean a lot to a lot of fighters out there who have families at home.
I think as well, Jamel, you're finally getting the plaudits you deserve. You know, like there's sort of like a lot of buzz around you at the minute, and you've got Oscar Valdez, Alexa Shakur, Stevenson calling
Right.
you out. What's next on it? Is there a move up the lightweight, or do you fancy facing one of them
You
two?
know what? The Frampton fight was actually supposed to be my last fight at super featherweight. You know, that was my plan, was always to move up. But then, you know, you guys seen it before me and Carl even got in the ring. Oscar Valdez, you know, was you know, making around saying that he would like to face the winner between Carl and I. And for me, I think that's a big fight. It's a big fight because it'll be for another world title. And honestly, a lot of what Carl was fighting for kind of rubbed off on me in terms of legacy, to what he was doing. So, you know, I can move up, yes, of course, but like there's only it's rare to, you know, to be in maybe a unification matchup or a matchup for the lineal championship of the world. So that's one thing that, you know, that's one thing that I've been thinking about since I've been home. And hopefully, I know Oscar Valdez's management and team, they want to fight, but of course, you know how boxing can play. It all comes down to the business aspect in the end. But definitely, Valdez is somebody that I'm really looking at as of now, and I've been speaking with my team over at MTK Global, my management. So I know they're working behind the scenes to get that done, but I mean that's something that I would really like to have next.
Yeah, because you've been like world champion for like 2 years now, and based on that performance, like, people were starting to doubt you. in the fight before, and then you come out and you have maybe a career best performance. The composure, the execution, everything was perfect. Do you feel now that you're maybe at your best?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, a lot of the stuff that happened from the last fight was really a great motivation for me going into the fight against Carl. But you know, like you guys see, you guys witnessed it firsthand right there. You see how boxing, the opinion changes so quickly. Like one fight, they could just think that you're almost at your way out the door. Then the next thing, they think you can just do another 3 or 4 years of great performances like that at times. So boxing, and that's why I didn't really take it personal, because I knew what was wrong from the last fight. Like I said, I knew I wasn't feeling like my best in terms of my health, at least because you guys know I was coming up with the COVID-19 situation. But I just instead, I didn't lash out. I didn't cry or complain or make excuses. I just took it as fuel, and I used it as motivation. And like I said, just seeing how much the fight meant to Carl, that rubbed off on me in terms of like, man, like after I had won, I was like, maybe I could do something in my own right that I could fight for. And then the Valdez situation popped up, and I was saying like, I would love that fight to become the lineal champion, because there's so many world titles going around, as you guys see. Anyway, we don't really get the lineal champion in every weight division. Like, so like if I had the opportunity to do it with the fight for the lineal title, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like even you saying there how much it changes. Like Ryan spoke about this before. In football, you're allowed an off night. You're allowed many off nights, many off games. Like in boxing, you have one bad night. You seen it, Lomachenko last year, pound for pound #1. Now he doesn't even get in the discussion of the.
That's fun. It's crazy that you brought that up too, Lomachenko, because like if you really look at it, when was the last time he hasn't even got any attention since the fight with Teofimo? It's like we, of course, who love the sport, we know, but it's like after that fight, it was like he just kind of like fell off the earth, and like you hear about, okay, he's making a comeback, but it's not like his fight doesn't have that same buzz it once did, and that's crazy. And even like when I was there, like I said, in person at the Garden with the first Ruiz Joshua fight, and okay, Joshua had a rough night, okay, whatever, but like what I seen how he was being treated, and afterwards it was crazy. But when he did the rematch came, it's like the first fight, everybody just forgot about it. So like that's just funny how boxing just plays out. But you gotta, like I said, I tell people all the time, you gotta just take the good with the good and the bad with the bad, and just roll the punches.
Mel, obviously you had your good friend Terence Crawford with you out in Dubai. We all know he's pound for pound one of the best in the world, right? But we really want to know, how good is he at Call of Duty? Because he talks a big game, Terence Crawford.
He's good, because he stays on it. Like he's probably on it right now. If I give him a call, he's probably on it. I'm telling you,
FaceTime him right now and let's see if he's on it.
If I can FaceTime him right now, I guarantee he's on it. I'm not lying. Listen, like I know him, like when he trains his ass off, okay, but like when he's not in the gym, he's in his chair. When I put on Twitter, it's him all the time. He's in his chair, his headphones. Yeah, he's gonna call me back. I already know he is, because I bet you. You know why he's not picking up? He's probably on the game. I'm telling you guys.
100%.
He's in the gulag.
See, Ryan here is obsessed with it as well. Like this guy streams and stuff, so we can set up him versus Crawford.
Oh yeah.
I've played a few games with Shakur.
I play my Call of Duty, the new Black Ops, but like he's still on. Like he loves the Modern Warfare version, of course. Yeah. But like I don't get on it with him because he's too competitive, and I'm like, yo, I don't want to be on your team, and I accidentally mess up, and then we get into an argument. So I don't bother him with that. But yeah, man, like. I guarantee he'll probably come back in like next 5 minutes. Like, hey, what's up, bro? He has headphones. I'm gonna show you guys. Like, I'm telling you.
see when you are sparring, is he competitive in everyday life? Everything he does.
He actually helped a lot for that fight, because what we thought was going into the game plan. Now we can speak about it, of course, because the fight's over. But the game plan really was, we knew, even though Carl was saying that he can outbox me, we just thought that was a ploy, a distraction for him, to us to really fade into that. I'm like, there's no possible way, like, because you guys seen in the fight night, like, there's no possible way that you could say you can outbox me if you can't get it. You know, I had the reach, I had the height. So with Bud sparring, it really was meant for him bringing that pressure and that added strength and size. I mean, of course, Carl isn't going to get that big, but I respected Carl so much that we thought that he was going to be a strong individual. You know, because he's never to me he's never showed weakness. He's never showed weakness with any of his fights. And like I said, I seen what he did. We seen what he did with Trainer. We seen what he did with McCreary. So his last 2 rounds, and I don't really go off when I'm studying a fighter. I don't go off their off nights or their bad performances or things like that. Now I go off maybe their recent performance a bit and their best attributes. So we know like Carl was good at measuring distance and he knows how to get in. So what Bud was for was to make me fight in the trenches when I couldn't get the room to box. So that's why Bud played a good role in the camp. And of course I had other sparring partners with me for like that had the same stature as Carl, of course, but like Bud was like a really good help, like because he made me fight when I was getting uncomfortable. That's why when you guys seen me, like you mentioned, I kept my composure. That really came from all the rounds that they were Bud. Like okay, I've been here before. Just relax, stay calm, don't panic on the inside or open up to something you might get countered with.
Yeah, it's great to see how passionate you are as well. Like I've seen videos and footage of you sparring, or maybe him watching you spar, and he's shouting at you what to do, and it's like
we get into arguments ringside, man. Like that's my thing. He's in camp right now, so you best believe him. I'm going to post up videos with me yelling at him while he's sparring. So I'm gonna get him back. Like, he was really getting on my nerves, but like I appreciate it because like that tells you how like you said how passionate he is about me. Succeeding and winning. Because I'm like, bro, I'm doing everything you asked me for. Like, what? Yo, calm down. No, I'm not calming down. Like, that's it. Like, I'm like, yo, what? So, like, when I go to camp for him, I'm gonna be over his shoulder yelling at everything.
Yeah, I could think of safer ways to spend my day than getting in an argument with Bud Crawford. Like,
The thing is though, like, that's another thing with Bud. Like, Bud, yeah, he has that mean streak in the ring. But when you meet him in person, he's probably the biggest clown to have around. Like I'm telling you, like all he wants to do is joke, play around. Like bro, leave me alone. Like it's like we have those moments. Like yo, leave me alone for now. But like he's cool. Like I'm telling you, like man, what fight was it? It was actually the Fury Wilder rematch in Vegas, and I'll never forget. After the fight, we had a whole group of us, and like, Bud isn't a drinker. Like, he doesn't drink at all. I don't think he even tasted alcohol in his life. So like, what we do is we went out and he took everybody out to for golf, like Top Golf, and we just all and he like paid for the whole group of people that we were with, and he just wanted to see people have a good time. So that's what he was about. Just having fun, and loves to have people around him who want to have fun as well.
And killing people in Warzone.
That's it. That's as long as he has great Wi-Fi connection, he's happy.
Jamel, we seen the other day Shakur tweeting. I was laughing at his tweet. It was funny. You replied to it, saying about having Bo Mack get the title. Is that something we could see down the line potentially after the Valdez fight, or is that something maybe that won't happen?
I think it's possible because even if I move up, you gotta understand that he's a growing. He's a kid still, so he's still growing. So of course, like he even mentions that he could probably be like up to maybe a welterweight at one day. So like those fights can still happen. You know what I mean? So there's nothing. I'm not counting it out or anything like that. But like like you see, we don't really get into like real arguments online. Like I laughed at it. That's okay. But I did say that I will be in Colorado because like I said that's another thing people fail to realize at times. Like we are around the same people all the time. Like I think he's going to Colorado in a week or so to go train alongside with Bud. So like if there was really any animosity, they wouldn't have, I don't think he'd be in the same camp that I'm around like that. Yeah. like I said, I told him, I said, listen, I'll be in Colorado to pick up that P.O. box address, personally to see. That's just how I am. Like, yo, you're not about to get on here and try to punk me on to like, hold on, bro. Like, hey, this guy. But no, Shakur is a cool dude, and I mean, you expect it from a young fighter who's hungry and he's just competitive. Of course, he wants the big fights. He also wants the Valdez fight. He wanted the Patel fight. So I'm not upset with that. I'm just, like I said, at the end of the day, it's still a mutual respect because we've seen him go at it with other fighters and he can be really, really disrespectful towards others. But bro, like Shakur is cool, man. But like I said, the fight's possible. Any fight is possible, especially if I keep performing the way I did the last fight. Like I said, I won't have any issue making more big fights down the road.
Speaking of big fights, I know you probably can't say much, but just blink twice if any of your good friends might be fighting Manny Pacquiao.
I mean, the one I'm waiting for me to call back is waiting for that call. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I mean, that's clearly the obvious. I know he's in Colorado Springs. That's why. I mean, man, I know you mentioned him being in Dubai. He actually wasn't in Dubai this time. Usually he's around me all my fights. But like, I knew something was big for him that he stood back in the States to train. And obviously, of course, Pacquiao is a big deal. So I think they're just waiting to fully get it on paper, as I would say. You know what I mean? I know they were working on smoothing things out. And another thing I can tell you guys, because it's not like I'm making any money off it, but I know Mikey Garcia was actually in the runnings as well, but I heard through the grapevine that I think they couldn't agree on the number. So the Pacquiao team kind of went back to make to Bud and speaking with our side again. But that's that's what I've been hearing. Obviously I really couldn't dive in too much because I was too focused on getting ready for Frampton, of course. But I know in terms of Pacquiao that Mikey and Bud were the two big names that were being thrown out there. But I know right now Bud is in Colorado Springs training. So I'm hoping that they get that deal done. But we'll see.
It would be amazing for Crawford. I think Crawford needs that big like marquee name on his record, and it doesn't come bigger than Pacquiao if he can't get Spence.
It's the same situation I had with my own career. Like I needed the Frampton fight. You know what I mean? I mean, of course, defending your world title is cool and all, but I took that fight as if I was like the challenger because I respect Carl. Carl is a 3-time world champion in 2 weight division. You know what I mean? So that's why I wanted to go to Belfast, give him that respect. I'm like, this guy did more than me in his, in the last few years than I maybe my whole career. Like, why not give him that proper respect? If he wants to have the fight in Belfast, I won't argue with that. He's deserved it, rightfully so. So that's how, and I know that's how Bud looks at the Pacquiao situation as well. Like, especially you guys see it, we all see it. He's been getting criticized about, like you mentioned, not having the marquee names in the welterweight division. They're all over at PPC with my good friend Errol Spence. I speak to Errol all the time as well. Errol, there's nothing I want to tell you guys. I spoke to both of them, and they both want to fight. Like Errol told me personally, and of course, Bud said the same thing. The issue with them is obviously the business. The business side is what ruins everything at times with boxing, and that's why I was pressing so hard now to get Valdez, since we have the same promoter. We both obviously expressed about wanting to fight, so like we hope that we don't have to go. I hope I have to go through what Errol and Bud we've been going through the back and forth for like the last 3 years now, and it's crazy. So that's why I'm hoping that like I said, pretty soon we can smooth things out. And then you guys see it though. Obviously, I still have to go through the issue with the WBO. I have to make a decision if I'm doing. But I'm hoping this wiggle room that we can make it a unification match since Shakur is fighting in June. Hopefully they have a little bit of wiggle room in between. But I have to deal with that as well. But I mean, like I said, boxing, a lot of things behind the scenes, as you guys know, prevent a lot of good fights from happening, and it's just sad at times.
You sometimes wish boxing was like the UFC, the way like the best fight the best no matter what, and it's obviously one man's obviously organizing it all, so it sort of has to happen. While like we as like fans, and obviously you're a fight fan yourself, so we all get robbed of these big fights at the best times to fight each other. Like for a UK domestic fight for us would be like Amir Khan and Kell Brook, so we would have loved to have seen that in their primes,
Right.
and obviously we can't now.
It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm like, I was, well, no, I'm a fan of Kell Brook. I remember when he came over to the States and when he beat Sean, I was like, yo, that guy at the time was the number one welterweight in my opinion, Kell Brook, because I just felt that, and it's funny, I actually take a lot of what I do in terms of the ring from that fight with Kell Brook, if I'm being honest, because if you look at it, Kell Brook was fighting the shorter man, which was Sean. He uses range and his distance with a great jab, and every time Sean had gotten closer, he tied him up and walked him out and walked him back to the center of the ring. So then, I mean, even now, I study a lot of fighters that I really respect, and Kell Brook is one of them. And I wish we would have got to see, Amir Khan and him fight. And I'm good friends with Amir. I'm glad I just seen that we spoke into Dubai recently. So I've known Amir since I made the Olympic team because we used his gym. When I came to before going to London, we used this gym out there. So me and Amir, we've known each other for the past decade or so now. But yeah, it just sucks that, like, again, these fights that we all would love to see, domestic or foreign, haven't happened or aren't happening now. Even now, for women's boxing, I would love to see Clarissa and Savannah go at it as well. Like that if you want to, because I look at it like this: if you want to get the respect and build women's boxing up, you have to make those big fights as well, because there's only but so many you can make anyway. It's rare to have a great fight in women's boxing because of the number of competitors. So if we can, I want to see that fight. I'm about to call Eddie Hearn myself. Like, hey, Eddie, hey, I just text Eddie too, man. Me and Eddie gotta talk, man. I just hit him up on Instagram, and like, he's seen it and didn't reply. Like, I you, Eddie, man. Like, I see you at least. Like, now it's my messages, but you're not responding, man.
He does that to me all the time. Jamel, I've asked him 5 times to come, no, 15 times to come on this podcast. He reads it and doesn't reply. But the one time that I posted about his book, he shared it on a story.
Hey, so yeah, Eddie, yeah, we know you're active on social media, Eddie, because you go back and forth with fighters on Twitter too. So we know you're active, Eddie. I don't feel like I have to go call you out on Twitter to get a response. Like, I'm just trying to, because most people know now, I'm helping managing fighters, and like, I want to work with everybody, like including from the guys here in the States, like Oscar, Bob, whoever, and of course I respect, what Eddie has done in the UK, not even just in the UK, we're all over. He's made great matches. So I'm like, hey, I was, it's crazy. I was asked if I want to help to manage an Irish fighter, and I was like, let me see if I can speak with Eddie about, to help this kid out, because like Eddie does a great job over there. He reads it and doesn't get back to me. Now I'm about to all right, Eddie, I'm gonna talk about you now, Eddie, man. Like, I got you on film. Like,
hopefully you'll hear this.
Yeah, like, yo, I'm glad it isn't me. Like, I'm like, yo, why he reads everything.
He's notorious for it.
When it says seen and he doesn't reply, it's just so smug.
Yeah, like, man, like, I'm like, man, I was thinking, like, I'm on top of the world right now. I can't win the biggest victory. Maybe Eddie will reply. Nope.
He's so big time. Well, Jamel, just before, we know you're very busy, so thanks so much for coming on. Just before you go, we want to get 2 fight predictions, 2 of the biggest fights coming up this year. Firstly, Canelo, Billy Joe Saunders. Do you think Saunders has a chance?
I like Billy. I think Billy is the type of fighter, and you see that in a lot of fighters, where like they bring their best when the competition is up there. You know what I mean? Because people you see they get on Billy like, oh, he didn't look good. I don't listen. I think Billy knows what's in front of him. And it's hard to go against a guy who actually been chasing after a fight so long. He's been chasing Canelo for a while, but like, of course, you got to pick Canelo as the favorite, of course. But like I said, I don't think it's gonna be an easy night because Billy Joe can box his ass off, and it's not like he's not the easiest guy to hit, especially when he's feeling it and he's using his footwork. He's going, yeah. Canelo's gonna have to basically he's gonna have to bring pressure to him because Billy is gonna be hard to find.
And the second one, I don't want to sound like a casual, but I need to ask you, Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua, hopefully happening this summer.
Joshua. I'm a fan of both of them, but Tyson Fury's the man. You know? Like, he's the man right now. Like, come on. Like, I'm like, man, listen. Even though I sat there for 20 minutes, I enjoyed the entrance that he had in the Wilder fight, the second Wilder fight. But like, just like the reception that he got in that building that night, I was like, man. And then like the reaction he got, you know, it added up to how he performed in the ring that night. Because I was like, for me, at that night, I was actually pulling for Wilder. And the only reason why, because if you do Wilder's career, he's better in rematches. You know, he's a lot more dangerous in his rematches. You know, the Ortiz, the Severn fight as well. And then I was thinking he'll be the same way with Fury, but Fury just did a number on him. I'm like, yo, this guy. Like, I always liked Fury because for one of his personality and his story of what he came from, depression and things like that, to where he's at now, I always respected that. But like just the way he performed and he showed no fear of Wilder's power and he just dominated. It's hard. And I'm like, to me, Joshua is kind of like not similar, but like he's known for just, you know, the big punch as well. And like, it's like you gotta Tyson, another one like Billy Joe. He's just hard to hit. Like if you, especially, and then on top of that, he's taller than everyone, you know, that he's in there with. Like he's taller than Wilder, and he's not, and he's real herky jerky with his upper body movement. So it's hard. It's gonna be hard to get that right hand off. But and we seen it at the point also that Joshua has been hurt a few times. He's been hurt by Vladimir Klitschko, and of course the Ruiz fight. So I don't know. It's just hard to bet against Fury on that one. But I have to side with Fury.
Jamel, I've got one more for you, right? Before you go, my video's playing up here, so it's like lagging in every couple of seconds. But before you go, right? We've had a big conversation all week about this. Them two are on one side of the fence, I'm on the other, right? I want to hear your opinion on it. Askren and Jake Paul this weekend. I've been saying I think Ben Askren's going to beat him, right? These two are convinced Jake Paul's going to do him in. I just can't see it. The guy's trained his whole life as a mixed martial artist. Surely that stands him in good stead.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up. Because I had actually got to a conversation about that last night. And somebody made a good point to me because I was thinking like, man, he's not looking too good in these videos he's putting out. But then it was like, you know, he could be putting out these videos to throw everyone off. Because I'm like, if that's the case, he's doing a hell of a good job. But they like people say that he's been hit and taking the, you know, others' best punches before. So it's like, you know, that's a good point. But even though people, as you know, in the boxing world, especially the hardcore fans, they have, you know, their opinions about the fight even happening. But for me, it's entertainment. So I'm going to tune in. But I was actually invited to go to the fight, matter of fact. But of course, I'm home, so I got to take care of daddy duties. And my daughter has a competition this weekend, so I just, you know, skip that fight, you know. But yeah, no, I think that's gonna be, like I said, I actually picked Jake to win it, but I was speaking yesterday and having a good conversation about, you know, Ben. I'm like, you know, I'm kind of on the fence with that one, but I definitely will be tuning in.
Happy days. Well, Jamel, honestly, the first time you come on, everyone absolutely loves you, and to get you back on this soon after the Frampton fight has been a real buzz for us. So thank you so much, mate.
Yes.
Anytime, man. Hey, we gotta do it again. Hopefully, when the next announcement comes, we'll speak about that. But I'm hoping it's Oscar Valdez, top rank, make it happen. MTK, love you guys, make it happen.
Absolute gentleman.
Jimmy Conlon will be listening, so we need to get him to get it sorted. Thanks a million for coming on, Jamel. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. And like I said, speak to Carl, tell him, you know, send him my best well wishes, and like I said, I hope to speak with him soon as well.
Thanks a million, Jamel.
What a guy.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, mate.
Well, guys, that's it for our episode with Jamel Herring. We really hope you enjoyed. Before we go, we just want to shout out our American sponsor, Manscaped. If you use our discount code Brawl Boxing, you'll get 20% off and free shipping. So please do get all of that. Join us again next week when we'll be back with another very special guest. Thank you.
Better back in autumn. Every gift I try to get her, she already got them. Messing with the TA, wonder what she taught him. Work her way down, literally to the bottom. Where are all my best friends? How can I ignore them? Never gonna text them, I am too important. Look at what my dad bought, yeah, it was imported. He took a second loan, cause our family can't afford it. Nice guy, bound to finish last if it's a sport. Call it